And sir, as we start, would you want to kind of just give a quick update in terms of what are some of the timelines? What exactly the plan with regards to how the teams are being formed? How many teams would be there, and so on? Or
I'll
is that
tell you.
something which is very
Actually,
best with the students?
I'll discuss it, and the students are also not aware. So they
Okay,
are only
okay,
aware of the case. I think they are only aware of the case. So I'll say it together for all. Everybody will understand it.
that'll be great.
So I'll just give a brief background, and accordingly we'll take it up from there. So Kashish,
Yes, sir.
have you allowed everybody to come inside?
Yes, sir, we have.
So roughly how many people are there?
Sir, roughly 27, excluding us, excluding sir, ma'am, and you, 27, 25, 27.
So you all are 27 contenders.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. And do you think that some of them would be absent for some reason or the
Yes,
other?
sir. Yes, sir, absolutely. I believe currently only one person per team have joined, and there could be a possibility that two or more per team will be joining, but not more, not all
We
participants.
expect about, so we expect about 16, 17 prepared teams, right?
Yes,
On
sir.
the actual day.
Yes, sir.
And so what is the date of submission that you'll have tomorrow?
So the
Day
date of
after.
submission is 19th.
All right, 19. So that's day after tomorrow. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So guys, we start off. Good evening, everybody. And here is, for the first time, we are having this case competition at Bhawanipur College. We have various competitions all the time, but this is a competition with a difference. And the collective that is taking interest and all the initiative for it is Eco for BITES largely. And of course, there are others also who are doing it. And we have this case competition. Now, what happened is that we have an associate which is called ISDC. So it's a UK-based chartered company, and they conduct various courses. They brought this information to us. They are not conducting it, but they brought the information to us that IMA is an American Institute of Management Accountants. They are the ones who are running the course which is called CMA. CMA is an international course in management accounting, and they are the ones who are starting, who are initiating this competition. And the finale will be in Dubai, where the selected teams will have the opportunity of go. All expenses will be paid by them, and apart from that, there is prize money and things like that. But that's a separate matter. The case has been designed by them, and this case has been handed over to all of you all. And you are supposed to form teams of 3 people. Ideally, one from first year, second year, and one from third year. That is what we have suggested. But we've allowed you to form teams where you need not strictly follow this, but roughly many of you all would be forming teams. So I believe that we have about more than 20 teams who have applied, out of which I am not too sure how many of them are very, very serious, but it looks very clear that about 15, 16 teams are quite serious about it. And that is how we got this attendance of around 25 people. So it is quite right to believe that these 25 people present over here would have gone through the case, which is a detailed case of about 12 pages. And it involves flow charts, and it involves a lot of finance and numbers and things like that. And at the end of it, it leads us to very interesting and relevant questions. Anybody coming from a business background will find those questions pretty relevant. So that is basically the backdrop against which the case is drawn. There are various intricacies in the case. Supriya is herself a faculty at the Bhawanipur College for many years, and she is also a close friend. So I approached her. I said, Supriya, I think that you should take this up. Supriya said, well, I've got somebody much better. And that's how she introduced us to Amit Bothra. And Mr. Bothra is, interestingly, and I remember it with fond memories because he recalled that, sir, I remember you. So that's very nice of him. And he's been a student of the college, and he's forthcoming, and he would like to be associated with us in future endeavors as well. So that's very nice. College has transformed, and everybody who meets and sees us doing these kind of things are very happy. And this one such case in that testimony. So guys, I think that's it from my side. We welcome Mr. Bothra, our own ex-student on this platform with respect and with a lot of pride. And we want him to throw some light on it to begin with, and then I expect you all to ask questions to give finishing touches to the presentation which all of you all might have been working on. So please remember that day after tomorrow is your last date for the submission, and after that we will be having a presentation. We'll select the best of them and you could make presentations, and then we'll put you in teams wherein we'll prepare your presentation. Then we'll assist you furthermore, and you could be looking forward to going elsewhere. But whatever the case is, you will all be receiving certificate of participation from IMA that you took part in the case study competition. So that is for sure. So nobody loses out. Everybody is winning here. So with that, I think I pass the buck to Mr. Bothra. Mr. Bothra will be with him, and he will carry on with this. And after that, you could have your question and answer sessions. So Mr. Bothra, thank you.
Thank you, Dilip sir, and thank you for all the kind words. It's almost, I would say a humbled experience and absolute pleasure to be here. What I would do is I would share my screen very, very shortly and then take you through a few slides which I have prepared for this particular case. And as Dilip sir had mentioned, that there will be opportunities to ask questions. Now we can go either ways. If somebody has a burning question which cannot wait towards the end, then do come out of mute, do come out of your video or share your video. And I like to kind of see the person who's asking that question, and I'll try and answer that. But if not, you all can wait till the end, or I think there is a chat window here in the on the Zoom link where you can post your questions and we can take all these questions towards the end of it. Is that all right with everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I will start sharing my screen. I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, good. That's great. So obviously, I just put in some time or some kind of slide to kind of talk about the structure of this particular slide. Firstly, I'll start with the agenda to cover exactly what I'm going to talk, or how much time we'll be spending on each of the sections. And this is what the agenda for today's kind of session looks like. I do want to start with a short introduction for myself, because obviously this is the first opportunity we are coming together. So won't be spending more than 5 minutes on it, kind of just give a brief glimpse on what my journey so far has been. And obviously it's a journey, so it's very much still on. And obviously kind of very proud of being a part of Bhawanipur Education Society back in the days, more than 23 years back now. So it's quite some time now, but it's always pleasurable memories. Then we'll have a bit of a case discussion. So I'll try to bring some facts and figures around the case. A few things which I'm sure whoever has read the case would have picked it up, but it's kind of worthwhile highlighting those. And then I'll quickly move on to focusing on how should one go about solving the case and what should the presentation structure look like, because I'm not necessarily 100% sure, but I think Dilip sir mentioned already that there would be presentations to be made. How long the duration of the presentation is and all those details would be shared with you all, if not already shared. But I'll give you some, I would say, tips and suggestions as to how you could do that. Then we'll talk about the do's and don'ts with regards to the whole presentation. And finally, we'll have a round of question answers and wrap it up. Okay, and this is what the kind of time agenda looks like, roughly about and just under an hour. Okay, so I'll start with my journey so far. So very much born, brought up in Calcutta, where I'm presuming most of you all are at the moment as we speak. Back in '79. So yeah, and it was my birthday a couple of days back. So just kind of reflecting on where I have been so far and what my journey has been. I graduated from Bhawanipur College, and I also did an advanced diploma course with Aptech Computers back in Calcutta until 2000. Now, and back in 2001, I decided that I want to pursue an MBA, so I moved to Bangalore, where I did my MBA with ICFAI Business School for a couple of years. And after completing my MBA, I joined Oracle one of the software houses, American company back in India. And I was with them for roughly 5 years, traveled the world with them quite a lot, and kind of worked and gained my, I would say, initial years of experience. Back in 2008, March, I moved to the UK. And since then, I've been here, so roughly 13 years now. Throughout my, I would say, professional and academic journey, I've kind of done a few courses and a few certification. And as I believe it's a continuous learning exercise one should engage in, that's what I have been pursuing myself. I did have the privilege back in 2015 to be admitted at Oxford University. So I've done a master's with them. It was a 2 years part-time course. We had every 2.5 months for about a week, and there were like 10 such sessions. So as I said, it was a part-time course, but a completely different and thrilling experience being with Oxford and being associated with one of the topmost universities of the world. That was back in September 2015. I had joined them, and it took a couple of years to finish. I did join PwC, where I am currently, PricewaterhouseCoopers, as some of you might have heard. It's one of the big fours. There's a big PwC office in Salt Lake in Calcutta. Almost 180 years old company, known as one of the big fours, as I mentioned earlier. So I specifically focus on management consulting with business strategy, IT architecture, digital and cloud transformation, governance and controls. And at the bottom of the screen, as you could see, these are some of the examples of some big clients I had worked with. HSBC's one of the world's biggest bank. Primark, as some of you might have come across in terms of retail and fashion. Tesco's happened to be a retail grocery shop, one of the biggest here. Ministry of Defense, Mercedes-Benz, and so on. And this Jan, I got promoted as a director with PwC. So that's a brief history about myself. There was a reason I wanted to bring this, because I will draw as to why I brought this particular screen on this session. What's the relevance of it? And you would see when we get towards the other slides in terms of how credentializing yourself in the case would be one of the things you should be doing. Now, in what shape and form you do, I'll leave that for yourselves. Moving on quickly with regards to the case discussion, if at any point anybody is not able to hear me, do stop me. Otherwise, I'll presume that everything is fine and you're still able to see my screen and we are kind of making good progress on it. Now, obviously, this particular case is about a sole proprietor. So I'll go through most of these points over the next 10 minutes, and then we'll kind of at least have a quick what is expected of us. I am getting a signal which says your internet, okay, it's gone back. It was saying that your internet is unstable, but unless I get a ping from anyone, I'll presume that everything is fine. So let's first go through some key facts. And this is just a memory refresher, nothing I would say significant, but a key to solving a case, as Dilip sir already mentioned, it's a lengthy case, it's a complex case with 12 pages and so on, is to distill it and get the key facts out of it. Now, obviously, it was not possible for me to get all the key facts on a slide. Otherwise, it would have been a bit of a repetition of what is already there. But the idea for me to put these points here was to draw home the point that anybody who is reading the case within your teams and across, you should get the facts out of it so that you don't have to keep referring back to, okay, which page the case was or which page the information was on, and you kind of avoid the risk of missing anything. So sole proprietor in cloth wholesale business, his dad had set up the company, and he is in between, is an intermediary buying the cloths from I would say so-called vendors, who then in turn buy the merchandise from manufacturers, and then they sell it to the retailers. So he's one among the many wholesalers. Procurement from intermediaries, as we've already discussed. Bulk buying and smaller lot selling to retailers. So that's how they were making their margins. Buy it in bulk and sell it in small lots. At the time, when his dad had started the business, we're talking about some few hundred shops being there. to the current situation, which in the case, right? I mean, not 2021, but we're talking about the case current situation, roughly 5,000 odd shops. So you could see the stark change in the market dynamics. Factors leading to success in the previous year. So strong purchasing power, high demand, low competition. These were the reasons why the business was so very successful. But over the period of time, as market dynamics had changed, what is the impact on it, and what is being asked of us as consultants who are trying to provide a recommendation and solve this particular case. So what has changed? Why? So good margins, low entry barriers, development of wholesale markets in different parts. And as you could appreciate, right, any new business, if there is an opportunity, when it comes, there is always a high growth potential, there's always high margin and so on. But as competition and other people get to see the success of it, and if the entry to barriers or barrier to entries are not very high, then anybody and everybody would want to get into that business. And then with more people, it's a no-brainer that your profit will start getting lower and lower. So those are some of the key facts. Other data which is worthwhile keeping in mind is other market factors, credit and pricing terms, seasonal fluctuation and customer behaviors, how they have changed over the period of time. Importance of personal relationship in this particular business, as we have read in the case, how one-on-one dealings between the proprietor, between the owners and the customers was very important and contributing to the success of the business, and why, if there are intermediaries in between, how that could change. Bank interest cost of 12% to fund the venture. So as we read in the case, that there is a question of getting some funding from the bank to expand the business in terms of going and getting it manufactured, getting it manufactured from manufacturers, weavers, dyers, and so on. There's a checker cost and challenge if one was to go with that route. Other factors impacting the greige cost. Greige is, the cloth which we are talking about here. Cloth dyeing facts and challenges, dark, light colors, variations, and then finally difference in dyeing quality and costs, weaving and dyeing damages. So those were other factors which you would want to synthesize, you would want to use in your case. And finally, coming to what exactly is the exam question? What is this case all about? So there were 4 questions which are there towards the bottom or end of the case. It's a decision between make or buy. And when I'm saying make, it's not necessarily going and putting up a manufacturing unit, but in general, our proprietor having to go and get it directly manufactured from the manufacturers, weavers, dyers, or whatever is the manufacturing process, as compared to buying it from the intermediaries. The next question is about differential and incremental profit basis. So we need to comment on that. We need to kind of showcase what exactly is going to impact. So how would Amir go about making the decision based on differential and incremental profit basis? Other considerations which he needs to keep in mind, so financial and non-financial considerations, and finally, what would be the course of action recommended? So every single team who is going to participate in that, they have to consider themselves to be a pool of consultants who need to then advise Amir, our proprietor here, on these 4 counts. So whenever you are going to make your presentation, your focus should be on these questions as to whatever you are saying, whatever you are presenting, how is it leading to answering these questions, and what would be your recommendation? Okay, I'm presuming there are no questions so far, so I will move on quickly to the case solving and presentation structure. Now, one thing, obviously, which I'm not going to do is I'm not going to solve the case on anybody's behalf. That was not the expectation also here. What I'm able to do is to give you some pointers, is to give you some, I would say, clues and reference points using which individual team should go about solving their cases. So solving the case study. Again, we'll go through this one by one. I can share these slides at the end of this. I'll obviously take out my introduction slide out of it, and then I'll share it with whoever is coordinating among yourselves, and then hopefully you should be able to get these slides for yourself. So analysis of purchasing ready to sell cloth, pros and cons. So I'm not saying that you should bring all of these points in your presentation. Here are some of the clues, some of the pointers which one or many teams could use. I would say in general to at least have a usage of 2 or 3 of these items, and definitely not all of them. So you have to do a bit of an analysis. Which one is the right thing to do? What are the pros and cons when it comes to purchasing the cloth through the intermediaries, or what is the benefit of getting it manufactured? Both pros and cons. Analysis of getting the cloth manufactured. The next thing is a comparison of costs. So buy versus manufacture. There are some kind of tables provided and so on, but there are 2 ways to use that information. One way is obviously to kind of do some calculations using ratio analysis, which is my last point here in terms of financial KPI analysis. So your key performance indicators, things like what is the average turnover day, how much is the gross profit, or how much is the margin and that I'm presuming that has been taught to you all. Or you can just do a quick Google search in terms of saying, okay, what are some of the key ratio analysis which could be used here. Obviously, there's not a lot provided in terms of balance sheets and whatnot, but on page number 5 of the case, on the first table 1, there are some financial performance provided. So in terms of how much sales is being done for each of the different type of cloths. So there are primarily 5 different cloths which are provided. There is sales information, there's cost of sales information, gross profit, various different administrative and other expenses on top of it, and how much is the net profit. So one could use this information and draw some ratios to kind of see as to what should be the course of action going forward. Okay. In terms of the presentation, then one could show a 2x2 matrix using build versus buy analysis. So when we'll move on to the next slide, I will talk about how to structure your presentation, how to make it more attractive, what to do and what not to do. But there you would see that rather than putting a lot of numbers on the screen, if you all could use some graphs, pictures, and so on, make it as visual as possible. That way you all would be able to encapsulate your key messages, plus also keep the audience interested. Because at the end of the day, apart from, I would say, solving the case, it's also about how are you presenting it, and what information are you going to provide to the audience. Because as you could appreciate, there would be tens of teams who would be presenting it. So how do you differentiate yourself is also one of the key factors to keep in mind. You could possibly use Porter's 5 forces analysis. And for your reference, I've just provided those 5 forces in terms of bargaining power. So between buyers and sellers, 2 different type of threats of new entrants and substitutes, and finally the competition and industry rivals. So that's your Porter's 5 forces. Based on whatever information is available in the case, you could use that. One could do a bit of a SWOT analysis. So between the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats which are presented to this particular business, comparing it from the past and what are the current circumstances, one could do that. Other frameworks which you could use for the case are the 4 C's and the 4 P's framework. And I provided for your reference what those 4 P's and 4 C's are. And I've already kind of touched upon various different ratio analysis which one could use. Contribution margin being one of the most important one, wherein your C is equal to P minus V. C obviously being your contribution margin, P being your your total sales, and V being your variable expenses. So for example, if your total sales is 1 lakh in this particular case, I think they've not mentioned the unit in particularly here, but it's in an Indian context. So one could safely assume that we're talking about rupees here. So if you're talking about 540,000 rupees, as in one example, if that's your total sale of 17 to 60 length light material, then whatever is your variable cost. So let's say, for example, your variable cost is 300,000 rupees, which is 3 lakh rupees. So your contribution margin is then 260,000 Indian rupees. Now that is what is available to you to cover your fixed costs. So you could use that information to do a comparison between different types of cloths. So which one is the most beneficial for Amit to continue with? So it's a decision which you collectively have to make, that apart from buy and then manufacture, even if you're deciding to manufacture, which of those 5 available materials could you get manufactured, and which one of those is beneficial for you to continue buying from intermediaries? Or maybe once you do a bit of your calculations, you might decide that it doesn't make sense to operate in all 5 of them. So your recommendation might be that rather than trading in all 5 cloth types, Amit should only trade in 3 or 4, whatever is the case. Yeah. Now, moving on with regards to structuring your case presentation. So these are some of the key points. And again, I'll spend some time on each of those, which you all could use. Just a quick point on the previous slide for 1 second. Do not use all of these in your case. Otherwise, it'll become a bit of a hodgepodge. Pick and choose the ones which you are comfortable with. Pick and choose the ones which you think can draw home the point. So an ideal combination would be to do a bit of a buy versus manufacture analysis, then either between Porter's 5 forces or SWOT analysis. So you can pick one of those. Then between a 4P and a 4C, you can pick one of those also. So you're looking at 3 or 4 frameworks. 4, I think, would be a bit of an overkill. Between 2 to 3 frameworks is maximum what you should use, backed by with some financial analysis. Okay. Moving on to this particular slide, so to start with, your pitch and your presentation has to be a story, right? So whatever time is allocated to you, be it 15 minutes, be it 20 minutes, make sure that you are telling a story. It shouldn't be a monotonous coming up and kind of throwing facts and figures and kind of saying, okay, this is what is currently happening, this is what we are suggesting, and moving on. It's about crafting that story. It's about telling it in a way which I would say engrosses your audience. Limit the facts and figures to as much as you can, because obviously the audience would have gone through the case a number of times, and just throwing facts and figures is a bit boring. So it has to be a mix of, as I said, visuals, storytelling, and obviously backed with some facts. Begin with the exam question. What is the ask and what is the need? So depending on what structure you're wanting to make for your presentation, you could say that, we as consultants, you could do a bit of a role playing also. So you could say we are consultants and give a name to yourselves. And we have been tasked by Amir, whatever his company's name is, to kind of advise him on this current situation. You could start that way. And we have been asked to answer these prime questions. And in the quest to answer these prime questions, here are some of the facts and figures which we want to present to you. So whichever route you take to tell your story, you can involve a bit of a role playing in that. Then address the stakeholders' concerns. So in this particular case, your stakeholder is Amir. So you're talking about the costs, expenses, growth, strengths, and so on. Think about the key message you want to deliver. So out of your 15 minutes, what are some of the bullet points or some of the key factors, which would be an absolute killer for yourself? Keep that in mind and kind of draw your presentation around that. Find the right medium of presentation in terms of diagrams, graphs, pictures, visuals, things which are easy on eyes, flow, and so on. Don't make it a very wordy, very lengthy slide. As you could see, and I was talking about why did I keep my introduction slide in the first place, and you saw I could have put some bullet points in there. Now the effectiveness of putting those bullet points, let's say if we are comparing this particular slide as compared to the introduction slide which I had for myself, which one of those you think would be more, I would say, suitable and more effective in kind of delivering the message? as we all know, right, that human brains can remember pictures, and as the saying goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So it will be very, very impactful. It would be useful for your audience to kind of get your message if it is in a pictorial, if it is in a graph form, if it is in some sort of diagrams and so on. So use those. With regards to the slides, do have a marquee slide. So let's say if you end up with having 6 to 8 to maybe 10 slides, which are those 1 or 2 killer slides? Which are the ones where you want to focus and spend most of your time? If that's what your intention is, you will have to practice. You would have to kind of space out how much time you could spend on each of those slides, because ultimately, obviously, it will be about delivering your message in the time allocated to you, which we will cover in the next slide in terms of the do's and don'ts. Right. So think about the structure of your presentation, keeping in mind the time you have. I've already kind of touched upon that. So while you go about doing various calculations or using any of those frameworks, which I've already discussed, have an end picture in the mind first, that this is what on the day I'm looking to present, and work it backwards. That if I want to present it, draw a structure on a rough piece of paper on your notebook, that this is what my rough structure of my presentation would look like. And you would see that once you start working on it, you might have to make some tweaks to it. You're not wedded to the structure as such to start with, but at least it'll help you weave your story. It'll help you arrive at your final deck. Okay, do start with introducing the team, brief the audience on what you're going to do and how, and take them on a journey as I'm trying to do with this particular presentation. So if you recall, I had an agenda, I did an introduction for myself, and I told you that this is what I'm going to do, and now I'm doing that. And then towards the end of it, try and summarize it in about 60 seconds or so. Okay, do keep it in the mind that there is no right or wrong answer with this. A case and different people can have different viewpoints. You don't have to agree or disagree with anything. It's what you as a team have thought about it and how well are you presenting. That's the crux of the case. It's not about who is able to calculate which specific ratio, who is able to bring in the best visuals. A case study is not about that. A case study is about how you as a team, 3, 4, how many number of people are there in the team, have actually worked with each other. How are you coordinating with each other? What sort of message are you presenting to your audience? And how are you able to, I would say, instill confidence in the audience that you have worked as a team and you are able to solve the problem which is given in the case. Okay. And finally, ensure the numbers and calculations you show are right. Explain why you have used it on those slides. So try and see there are no mistakes on the slide. There is no spelling mistake. There is no calculation mistake. Don't end up showing 300,000 plus 200,000, something like 600,000. People will pick it up, and you will score low if there are any errors as such. Okay, so this is about structuring your case presentation. Do's and don'ts. I will take a 30-second pause just to check if there are any questions, if anybody has any thoughts going on, if anybody wants to ask anything.
Sir, I would like to mention something. Participants, kindly mention your question in the chat box, and you cannot unmute yourself, so you would have to request us to unmute you. So in case you want us to unmute you, just kindly ask us in the chat box so that you can be unmuted. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any questions, Kashish?
So as of now, they haven't mentioned any question. I think they are waiting for the final Q&A round.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. So I'll move on to the do's and don'ts. Some of it might be a bit of a repetition I've already covered, but it's kind of always worth keeping a note of it. So I'll start with the do's. Tell a story, right? Don't just kind of make it a monotonous case and keep it as interesting as you can. Use of few emotions, variations in your pitch. Obviously, different people will have a different style to deliver a presentation. So if it's a team of 3, do practice and do kind of agree among each other who's going to start the presentation, who's going to take it in the middle, or who's going to end it, if that's what the requirement is, that every participant should speak on the stage. whatever is the condition or whatever the criteria is provided by the organization hosting this event, do kind of work accordingly. Discuss the business problem and solutioning you're proposing in terms of the do's. State your assumptions and rationale very clearly. So as you could see, right, that this particular case, if I'm just having a quick look at the case we're talking about, 2013, 2018. So the present time seems like it's 2018, and while obviously we are in 2021. So do kind of talk about in that sense as if time is today 2018. Keep it short and sweet with regards to the slides. So roughly 2-3 minutes per slide, depending on the number of slides you have. But that's an ideal time if you're making a presentation to a large audience. Religiously stick to the time allocated. So if it is 15 minutes, it is 15 minutes. Don't take 16 minutes. If you use a little bit less, that's fine. But if it's a 20 minutes presentation, don't end up in 10 minutes. Because obviously that fact would be known to you. So prepare your slides, prepare your presentation accordingly, and giving yourself a bit of a buffer to move between participants if in case if a distraction happens, or if in case somebody asks a question in between, do keep some buffer for that. Rehearse your slides and pitch. As they say, practice makes it perfect. Noting the timings and so on. So when you are rehearsing it within your team, do make a note of your time, sit with a timer to just kind of note how much time you're spending on each of the slides, and then accordingly tailor the slide if you want to reduce the points, if you want to add some more points onto it, and so on. Identify the speakers and practice the shuffle among participants, whoever is going to speak, right? So, and how would you give a cue to each other? Because if one individual, let's say if I am making a presentation for the next half an hour, then I know what my pace is, how can I go about it, and so on. But if there are more than one participants, if there are more than one speakers, then also knowing the strengths and weaknesses of each other is important. Plus also, how would you pass on the cue? How would you say to the next person that, come and then start talking? So let's presume that things would be fine and you would be there physically in Dubai. Then in that case, if all of you are on the stage, at what point would you finish, and how would you get the next participant to come? Would it be an eye-to-eye contact, or would it be some cues? You kind of say, okay, now I've presented this, I'm going to hand over the mic to my colleague or my fellow participant to talk about it, and he or she is going to talk about XYZ. That could be the way of passing the baton. So practice those things, before you actually go into the final event, and be prepared for question answers either from the panel or from other teams. And in preparation, do preempt some questions and prepare answers. So based on whatever you are going to present, just think through that. Okay, these might be some potential questions which people from the public or participants, or maybe the evaluators, they can ask, so that you're not caught off guard. You're not caught, kind of napping on the wheel. Obviously, if you forget something, for example, I don't think so anybody is going to be, nobody would ask you a question, okay, which year his father passed away, right? It's not a quiz going on here, but they might ask, okay, you have presented Porter's 5 forces. Why do you think that particular is a strength, or that particular is a force in this particular case? Or if you've done a SWOT analysis, how do you think that his experience of being in the business for such a long time is a strength? So things like those is something which you should prepare and have a short answer in your mind. In terms of don'ts, don't expect the audience to know the case, right? So do feel free to bring the audience to the facts and figures. But again, as I said, don't go too much into the facts and figures, because otherwise it'll bore them out. And don't throw, so on the presentation, right, don't throw too many figures, because it can then be a bit overwhelming and daunting for the audience to keep track of it. Don't present every detail from the case, right, because it's irrelevant, it's boring, and so on. So keep the most relevant ones to kind of use your storytelling. Don't introduce anything unknown and unnecessary data based on reality or real life. So don't start saying, oh, this is what the current situation is at the moment. You might actually have some options. So for example, if you wanted to bring some facts and figures of the overall, let's say, Indian textile industry to use as a reference, then you are permitted to do so. So you might say, but if you kind of look at it, it's not looking too, I would say, bigger industry. We are talking about a few. I'm just having a quick look at the numbers to remind myself what kind of yeah. So we are looking at roughly 8 point, it's 1,000. Yeah, between 8. No, how much? Sorry, just give me 1 second. I'm just looking at these numbers. So we're looking at 600,000 in one particular case, 20 lakhs in another case, 13 lakhs in another case. So in total, roughly 82 lakhs. So bringing in any big industry comparison would be, I would say, an overkill. But if you could get some facts and figures from, let's say, just the Maharashtra region, which is relevant in the case, then you might want to do a bit of a compare and contrast just to set the scene. Okay. Don't ask any tricky questions to your opponent. So whenever if there is your opportunity to ask any questions, don't try to kind of trip them over. Just keep it as professional and as, I would say, friendly as possible. And don't try to prove other team members wrong or inferior, because that is one mistake which often people end up doing in a competition with regards to a case study, that I have read the case better, I know the insights much better than you do. Anything like that doesn't land very well, or it doesn't help you, get any additional brownie points when it comes to the case resolution. Okay, so that pretty much, in a nutshell, was what I was wanting to cover so far in kind of today's session. I will now stop sharing my screen and come out of it, and then depending on what questions, if anybody might have, can always start share the screen back, or if I don't need to share the screen, if there's something which I can answer straight away, then I'll try and do that.
So participants, if you have any questions, you can mention in the chat box, or you can ask us to unmute you and we will unmute you. Sir, Soham Chatterjee is wanting to unmute himself. So should we go ahead with him?
Yeah. You don't need to ask me, just go ahead and do that.
Awesome.
Hello, sir.
Go ahead, Soham.
Sir, first thing that I would like to ask is that the directions that I have received from my college, the guidelines that we have received, there were, I think, sir, everything there is mentioned like you have to prepare a PDF kind of thing, and where you cannot add any images. You probably can add certain graphs or flowcharts, but certain things that you have said that definitely I think meets the requirement of if we go into the real world, and that will definitely our clients would definitely feel. I think that would be good for them to describe the whole case. But there are certain restrictions, so I just like to clear from my teammates or my college friends that what is it to be actually made.
All right. So regarding, sir, should I go ahead with this?
Yeah.
All right. So regarding the PDF or the PPT, since the Google form that will be provided to you, that will over there you need to upload the PDF format. But obviously, when you present it to the judges, you'll be presenting the PPT, not the PDF. So in case you're confused with the PDF thing, when you save your PPT, you can also save it in a PDF format. So you need to share the PDF format of the PPT in the Google form. That will be provided to you on 19th. Now coming to the images one, we requested that you can include graphs or any kind of image that describes the case, but not something obscene that is completely unrelated to the case. So images that is not related to case, obviously that won't be permitted, but images that will be completely related to the case, such as graphs or anything such as charts or any such kind of things, you can put it in the PPT.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks. I would like to ask one or two more questions. From a student perspective, while answering this question, should we have to act like directly a management consultant kind of, or like a student who is like approaching that we are that, we have prepared the answer accordingly and we are answering this as per the questions which are asked, or directly as a, we have studied the case and now we are just giving you the answer that just as a consultant.
So Soham, the choice is yours,
Yeah.
right? Whichever way you want to go about it. As I said, there is no right or wrong answer. If
Yeah.
you want to put yourself as a consultant who's trying to help Amir and his business, you could do so. You can explain that at the very beginning. Or if you want to say that we want to remain as a third party, so Soham is encountering this particular problem and it looks like these questions needs answering, we are just trying to help with our understanding and our analysis of the case. So whichever ways you want to do it, it's entirely up to you. There shouldn't be any problem with that.
Okay, sir. And sir, as you mentioned certain things which are, I think, really great for the presentation part. But one more thing, that's while reading this entire case as a student, and I haven't done it. I'm doing this for the very first time. So, sir, while reading the case, what a management consultant can think while reading it, that these are the pointers that I'm just making a summary out of it, and how he can think. I just want to know, just you have a lot of experience, I believe so, and how you can go, if I just want to know that after reading this case.
Sure. So see, as I said, right, I mean, apart from the facts and figures which are available in the case, one has to apply a few different lenses. So the first lens which I would apply in it is that what have been the success factors in the past and how things have changed over the number of years, right? And going forward, what are the strengths of my business? If I was Amir in this particular case, what exactly shall I continue doing to make sure that I remain profitable and I remain viable in this business? So that will be one insight which I will try to draw from it. The second insight I would try to draw from it is using either of the frameworks, which I've already touched upon. So if we are talking about the 4 C's in this particular case, so who are my customers? Do I understand my customers? What are the dynamics regarding my customers changing? Okay. What is happening with competition? So you can kind of talk about that and whatever information you are able to draw from there. Likewise, if we are kind of talking about your costs, what's happening to your cost? Is it going up? Is it going down? What capabilities do you have as a business? So use any of the frameworks and then try and suck information from the case. Ultimately, is all about keeping the business viable. It is keeping the organization being profitable, and it's a matter of choice. You can either continue to work in and kind of operate in all the 5 lines of cloth which is being mentioned here, and also you could decide to either buy or to manufacture. So that's pretty much it, I would say, in a nutshell. There's not much, if I'm being really honest about it. There might be things like, they mentioned in terms of different weaving patterns, different suppliers and dyers available in Nashik and so on. But once you use a framework, you would see that most of the information available in the case is relevant and it will sit under any of those buckets.
Okay, so.
Yeah. One thing I have to say, go on, Soham.
Yes, you tell now.
No, I was just saying one thing I have to say. I'm pretty impressed with the participants who have joined And I'm also very, I would say, excited to see a lot of females wanting to take part. I would have liked to see a lot more of your boys, Soham, like yourself. Just going by the names, I see a lot of female participants are there, which is very encouraging. Go on, Soham, you were saying something.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. And sir, one thing, like it may go a little bit out of context, but still I would definitely like to ask, like, sir, being a management consultant, is it like that you have to have a little bit of knowledge about the industry, but I mean, before consulting with your clients, what a management consultant does, like, yeah, before, do we have like all insights?
So obviously, knowing and understanding your surroundings, understanding of the environment one is operating in. It could be at a country level, it could be at a state level. You might have read about it in various different economic factors, right? What's the situation of the government in that particular country? What's the situation of the political climate, environmental conditions, and so on. Being aware of that is very important and useful as a management consultant, so that then you can draw your suggestions, you can draw your analysis, keeping those factors in mind. Because you don't want to suggest something or recommend something to your client which might be relevant in one country and completely useless in another country, right? So your suggestions has to be in the context of what is being asked and where is it being asked, who is asking it, for help, and what sort of help could you offer. Yeah. So if, for example, you said that, okay, go ahead and if you recommended a financial, let's say one of the financial recommendations was to take a huge debt in your business. Now, taking a huge debt in in a country ridden by inflation could be suicidal for the organization, as compared to taking a huge debt in a very, I would say, low interest, stable economy, some of the Western countries of the world, and so on. Yeah. So one single suggestion could have different context and could have different ramifications.
Okay, sir. Got it. Thank you very much, sir. It's a great moment for me also, like consulting, talking to you, like, thank you very much, sir. And one last question to my teammates or my college mates, that when that presentation part will happen?
Sure. Go. When will the presentation part will be happening? Right. The final date of presentation.
Yeah,
so it will be
I mean
informed to you.
one.
Yes. So once you submit it on 19th, we'll be informing it to you only on 19th that when is the final presentation taking place.
Okay.
That is one criteria that we have kept. We can't inform you beforehand. We'll inform you only on 19th when is the final presentation taking place.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Om.
Okay. So we have next Meet Upadhyay, who wanted to ask you a question.
Sure. Meet, you still seem to be on mute.
Can you hear me? Good evening, sir. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah. Go ahead. Good evening.
Sir, there were certain computations which we are going to we have to make in this presentation. So, do we have to make that presentation those computation with the working notes, or should we skip those to not to make the presentation boring?
Okay.
Or should we add those working notes, like how we have arrived at that numbers?
Okay. I think I get your question. It's all about, asking that whether should you present your working computations on the screen or on your presentations, right?
Yeah.
Okay. No, you don't have to. Obviously, keep them handy. And if you want to add them towards the notes section of the slides, that can be there, because internally you might just want to check, and whoever is going to guide you going forward before you move on to the final stages, but certainly not on the slides.
Okay, sir. Sir, one more question. question. Sir, there are certain, I mean, the certain incomplete data given in the case, like in case the principal amount of the interest is not given. So can we assume the prudent amount which can be and make the calculations ahead?
Yeah, so in that particular case, you just need to take whatever information is available, and information available on table 1, on slide 5. Just having a quick look at that also. There are some figures provided, right? So for example, if you're talking about a sales of 1.8 crores, right, that's the figure you're kind of looking at. And depending on how much do you want to borrow, what sort of expansions you are suggesting, you can take figures
Yes. Yes,
for
sir.
that as a principle. So it shouldn't be 2 lakhs or 20 crores. That will be way out of the way. But in and around
Okay,
that
sir.
range of 2 crores would be more than right.
Okay, sir. So that's all I wanted to ask. Thank you, sir.
Sure. Welcome.
Any other participants who wants to go ahead, kindly mention in the chat box so that we can unmute you.
I think once the slides will be shared with the students, they will be in a better position to, really understand the case and then maybe have some questions. So if, we can maybe definitely, as Mr. Bothra already said, that he's going to share the slides later on, and we can email it to them. And maybe, if still they have some query, will you be able to take it on email?
Yeah,
Will
that's
that?
fine. I mean, I would prefer to collate all the questions and then send it to
Yeah.
me in one go rather than piecemeal business. And I'll try to come back on it as soon as I can. But again, it's a working week for me, so
Yeah.
we'll need a couple of days at least as a minimum to respond back.
Yeah, no problem. So I think, the coordinator can just take this point into account, and you can maybe, collect all the questions once the students are more prepared, because today for them, I think it was, for the first time they've gone through the case also, and there was a lot of information to digest. So maybe they are a little, shaken up by the whole thing. So you can just check the questions and maybe, just filter the questions first at your level and then send the important ones to sir, and maybe he'll get back to you, since we do have time with us. So I think that could be one thing that we can do.
Sure. There seems
Sure,
like
ma'am.
Chana wants to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hi,
Chahana
good
is
evening.
muted. Unmute.
Sir,
Chana, I can't hear you. Sorry.
one minute. Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening. Go ahead.
Sir, you said that you have to present the PPT in the form of story. Then we have to show each and every facts and figures of that. It's like that. Or we can say in a story way that what is happening around. Means how is it developed or how something like that.
So use the slides, right? I mean, I'm presuming that you all have not been presenting for a long time. So for yourselves also, it'll be a new experience, right? So if you ask me, I've been presenting things for the last 20 years. So, over the number of years you can excel on it, and still you will fumble, right? There'll be butterflies in your stomach, there'll be nervousness, you might forget some facts and figures. So use the slides to put the facts and figures which you want to refer to, but don't put everything on the slides and then look at the slides and start reading it. That's the most boring thing you would expect. In an ideal format, obviously this was a presentation, so I couldn't move around and so on. So it had to be done in this way. Otherwise, typically what I would do, or what any successful presenters would do, is they would have the slide in the background for people to read. And then they would tell the story based on the practice, based on the information they already have in their head. If in case they forget something, or if they, in case they have not covered something, then they can refer back to the slide, have a quick scan of it, and bring it in their conversation. So in terms of the storytelling, I would say it's not difficult to remember that this is a cloth manufacturing business. There's a guy who's had his father start the business. He's no longer there. He's taken over. All these, is something which you can bring as a part of your story. And you can spend about a minute, minute and a half, depending on the time you have for the whole case, to bring the audience or to warm up the audience in terms of what exactly are you going to talk about? What is the context?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir, there's another question from Arpana Gupta. She won't be able to unmute herself.
That's
so her
fine. I'm
question
reading
is,
it. Is that the question, right? At the time of computing profit per meter, how do we
Yes,
consider the
sir.
shrinkage of cloth? Sorry, I won't. Okay, that's fine. Shrinkage of cloth per meter. So whatever is the shrinkage percentage, right? I mean, I don't recall all the facts and figures of the case. It does say, if I don't want to have a quick look at it, the cloth also experiences shrinkage, which is approximately percentage of the cloth. If it is, if the anticipated shrinkage is 10%, for example, then 100 meters of the cloth would be shortened to 90 meters. Yeah, so there is your answer. So whatever is the total cost, that total cost needs to be apportioned over the 90% of the total production. Right? So if the production goes less, then your cost per unit will go up. Right? So that's what you need to base your calculation on. I hope that answers her question.
Yeah.
Priyodeep says, do we have the answer to the questions in order? No, not necessarily, Priyodeep. It's entirely up to you, but you obviously don't want to be answering starting with a recommendation unless your entire case is structured that way, unless your entire, if you like, pitch is delivered that way. You could start with saying that, okay, this is what we have recommended to our client, and then you go backwards. This is why we have recommended what we have recommended. So the short answer to your question, Priyodeep, is no. But if you think it makes sense, or if it makes logic to start with those 4 questions, I'll just go back to it. I rather not start with answering the first question. I rather start with question 3 if I had my way of doing it, or maybe question 4. Once I would have set the scene, once I would have said, okay, this is what the case is all about, then I would say, as consultants, I'm recommending this, and I'm recommending this because of XYZ, and those XYZ would be answered for question number 3, that here are some of the non-financial and financial considerations, right? And we're also recommending this to, for example, go for a differential price on a differential price profit basis because of these reasons. And then you might want to say in your course of answering that we calculated the cost per meter and it came out to be this. Yeah. Tabish Ahmed wants to ask a question. That's fine. And while we unmute Tabish, Aparna is saying that actually in table 2, estimated meters is 200,000. So and others. So I'm not able to understand that it has already been considered the shrinkage, or do we have to consider it in the additional to that? See, as I said, your audience is not going to, your evaluators are not going to sit with a calculator saying what you have done. Whatever is your percentage, right? And you can make that assumption very clear that this is what I have assumed, that it is going to be exactly, yeah, as Supriya ma'am says, right? You can make assumptions. Tabish?
Sir, I had the same question actually.
Okay.
About the shrinkage.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I think we can wrap it up now. What do you say? Or are there any more questions left? Because
yeah, I'm conscious of time also. So if there are any final last burning question, which cannot wait, then do ask. Otherwise, let's wrap it up.
So let's just give them a final window of 1 minute. Is there any other student?
No, don't think so. So, okay, thanks a lot from my side to give me this opportunity to kind of take you through this case and share some of my perspectives. As I said earlier, there is no right, there is no wrong answer. This is just my perspective. This is just my way of looking at it. Do feel free to comprehend the case as you deem fit and do some good research. These days, you don't have to go anywhere, sat at your home. Just with some Google research, you can get a lot of information. It's about synthesizing it, it's about bringing it together and working with your fellow presenters or fellow team members. So
Okay,
with
so
that,
I'll
I'll
just,
hand back to
yeah,
yeah.
sorry. Yeah. So I'll just take this opportunity to thank Mr. Bothra of, he's taken out his precious time on a Sunday. I'm sure his wife must be cursing all of us because it must be lunchtime over there in UK. And for us, we are comfortably having our evening tea. So thank you so much. And, you have really taken the effort of studying the case and making it so simple for us. In fact, just going through his slides, I felt that, I saw the case in a snapshot. So I'm sure for all the students who are participating, it's going to be, a great help when the slides are in front of you and you can take the points and make your own slides. So I'm very, very thankful to you for, taking out the time and coming over here. And I hope that this first, meeting with Bhawanipur College continues and we have some other classes also together. And definitely till this corona ends, we won't be able to physically meet, but hopefully virtually also we can have some meaningful sessions together. So thank you. Bye-bye. Good evening.
Thank you, Ms. Supriya, and thanks to all the students and Dilip sir. I'll wish you all the best and good luck with your presentations and your final pitch. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
So can we leave now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Participants, if you have any queries regarding the technicalities of the case, you can mention it to Vanshika. She will be solving all technicalities. How to name the PDF, what should be in the first page, like team details and everything. You can message your query to Vanshika and she will be solving it. So I'm just ending the meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.